Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lunch and Learn Live. I'm so glad that you all have joined me today. So jump on in, get comfortable, get your lunch warmed up, get your beverage, take your shoes off. You know how we do it, and come on in and get comfortable. I want to go over a couple of administrative things as you guys are coming in and getting settled. The first thing is we have two ways that you can watch our Lunch and Learn Live. Some of you are watching from the Happiness Buckets Lunch and Learn Live watch page, and some are watching from our YouTube watch page. So for those who are on THB's watch page, if you are interested in participating in the chat, then you will need to click on the link below the video to come over to the YouTube live watch page. I know some people aren't able to chat while they are watching, and so I gave the two different options, but feel free to watch on either one. It's fine. But if you want to participate in the chat, you will need to be on the YouTube live watch page. Okay. So for those who are watching from that page, go ahead and check out the chat section. I have posted a question there for you to jump into answering, which is basically what is one area that you need help, one organizing area that you need help with, be that in your business or your personal lives. Just name one that you need help in. Okay. That just helps me in, it's kind of some market research, right? I'm just trying to figure out where do you guys need the most help. So that will help me help you. So today's topic is so exciting. I am excited to cover this topic with you. And based on the number of people who said that they were coming today, I know it's exciting for you too. But before I jump into the topic, let me introduce myself for those who don't know. My name is Dana L'Oreal Morales. I am your holistic organizing strategist. I help entrepreneurs navigate business and personal needs. So I help you develop processes in both your business and personal lives. I help you create them, implement, and streamline your processes so that you can have the life, your personal life and business that you want, and that helps you bring in customers or helps you navigate your life so that you have a better work-life balance. And so today's topic, like I said, is right up that alley, and it is also in alignment with our annual theme, which is preparation. That is our theme for the year. And so this is right in line with that. So this past week, I had the honor of having lunch with one of our THBers. And for the purpose of her privacy in this story, I am going to call her Cassie. And so Cassie and I had lunch last Friday, and she actually shared with me one of her nightmares, the nightmares, I think, of any mother out there. She shared with me something that happened with her last month. And so I'm going to give you just a quick synopsis or quick summary of what happened with her and her family this past month, and is what actually prompted the topic for this week. Okay. So Cassie is a mom, of course. She has two children, actually a set of twins. And I believe they're 6 or 7. I can't remember their exact age, but I want to say they're between 6 and 7. And she is married. She works from home. Okay. So that is kind of her background. And so what happened is that her son got the flu. And a couple of weeks later, her daughter got the flu. And a couple of days or a day or two later, her husband got the flu. And of course, as you can probably see with the way this is going, she got the flu. And so her entire family was riddled with the flu, and they were all at different stages of the illness. And as mom, she jumped in and did what most moms do. And she was taking care of her family. She was making sure they were fed, that they had the right medicine, that they were not cross-contaminating each other and all of that, all while she was sick too. And this is something that happens to women all over the world. We are filling the shoes of supermom, right? And still trying to maintain our sanity. And when she was telling me the story, I kid you not, I just felt for her. Like I could feel the angst. I could feel what what I thought she felt in the moment, right? She was telling a bit of the story when she was just standing. I think she said she was in the living room, in the laundry room, and she just started to cry. She was just standing there crying because, I mean, if anybody's ever had the flu, if you've ever had the flu or just been sick where you didn't feel good and you were really sick, you know how you felt. So just imagine feeling like that and then having to be on to take care of your kids or your spouse while you're in that state. And I just feeling like I felt that, right? I felt that emotion and that feeling of what do I do now or who's going to help me. And so we go through that as women a lot. And so as we were talking and as we were just discussing this and talking about preparation the next time and all of that, it really got me to thinking about how this is perfectly in alignment with our theme for this year and just preparation and the things that we need to think about as women, as entrepreneurs, to prepare us for the inevitable. And a lot of times, you guys know that I am a big proponent of preparing your family and not feeling like you, as just because you're mom and just because you're a woman, that you have to do everything yourself, right? And then preparing others to be of service to you, preparing others to help you, right? And so this again is in perfect alignment with this conversation. So I definitely am excited about it. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to think about the story I just told you about Cassie. I want you to think about you and place you as you are in your world. Be that if you're focused on business, focus on business. If you're focused on your personal, focus on that. But plug yourself into Cassie's story. This is you, right? And think about how prepared you are to handle that situation. Okay. Or if you need to adapt that situation to something else. Maybe you've gotten sick and you have a ton of stuff going on in your business and you just don't have the time or the mindset at the moment because you're sick to deal with it. Like whatever the scenario is, I want you to plug you into it. And I want you to think about the fact or think about, are you prepared? Are you ready to deal with this thing happening to you? And in most cases, as business owners and as moms, we are not prepared. We are on the edge. Some of us may be prepared and more prepared in some things than others, right? But I want you to just really think about that. What is your plan? How would you handle this? Would you freak out? Most of us would. It's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And in the moment, you're always going to have that one moment where you were not prepared. But after that moment, after that thing happens, or after you realize that this is a possibility, what are you going to do about it? And so that was one of the questions I asked Cassie, is just like, what is the lesson learned from this? What can we do? What can you do to prepare yourself for this in the future? Because it obviously can happen and might happen again. So what is it that you can do now to prepare you for the future? And that's what I want you to think about. I want you to plug yourself into that. Okay. Now, in talking about this, a lot of times I do focus on personal because that is something that relates to all of us and that we all can understand. But I also want you, specifically if you are an entrepreneur or if you are running a business of some sort, whether it's yours or someone else's, I want you to think about your backup plan. I want you to think about disaster recovery. And in the corporate world, we call this disaster recovery. We talk about, what do we do if, and we kind of play that what if game. And so I want you to do this, and that's why I said plug yourself into Cassie's story. Is what is your backup plan? What is your disaster recovery plan? Because things are bound to happen. There is no way for you to stop bad things from happening or inconvenient things from happening. What you can do, however, is to prepare for them in the best way possible. So some scenarios I can give you of just, does this match your world? Does this match what you have to deal with? Right now, we're dealing, last night, in Tennessee, we had massive storms coming through. And so there were tons of tornado warnings. And so one thing, if you live in this area, for you to think about is, what happens if a tornado hits my home? What happens if a tornado hits my business or hits around my area and I can't physically get to work, or I can't get the internet, or I can't get what I need for my business. The suppliers are out or something like that. Think about how that affects you and how it affects your business. That's tornado scenario. Think if you live in Florida, do you have a hurricane plan, disaster recovery plan, and not just for getting out of Florida, but for your business, for your family? Do you have a plan in place for that? Earthquakes, same scenario. And these are all natural disasters. But the reason why I'm using this as the example is because most people can relate to that as the disaster. But let's go a step further and let's think about, your work at home. Let's say that you work at home. You have a small business, or maybe you work for someone else and you work from home, right? What happens when your internet goes out? Like, it just goes out. Be that because your provider did something and it's just not working, or maybe something happened in the area and it was just knocked out. What is your plan? Let's say that you had a business meeting or interview or something that you needed to do online and that happens. What is your backup plan for that happening? Right? That's something for you to think about. What happens if a vendor that you use on a regular basis, either for your supplies or for running your business, what happens if it just suddenly stops working? Let's say they're having a technical issue and they go out, or they're not able to provide you with the service that you're used to. What is your backup plan? Now, I'm not saying that in all instances that you need to have it fully mapped out from beginning to end for every single scenario, because you could just be doing that for days. You'd never be able to run your business because you're playing the sky is falling game. However, you need to identify those key areas in your business that are kind of the more likely things to happen. So in project management, a lot of times we will do a risk assessment. And so we look at the things that could possibly happen, and we identify the mitigations to those risks, right? So if my internet were to go down, what is a mitigating factor for me? I could go somewhere that has free internet. I could go to another area of the city, because if yours is knocked out, what's to say that others in the area aren't knocked out? So you need to have a plan. And I'm using the internet because this is something that we all can relate to, right? So if my internet went out today, the first thing I would do is check to see, on my phone or somewhere, to see, is this a widespread issue, or is this very a small area, like just my area, and do they have an anticipated time of when this will come back online, right? And then I would get in my car and travel somewhere that I could get on the internet and do what I needed to do, if that was possible. If it wasn't possible, then I would have a backup way to get in touch with whomever it is that I need to get in touch with, to say, we're having technical problems with our internet. Let's reschedule, let's postpone. Like, that is a way for you to kind of align yourself or figure out what is the route that I need to take. So if you're doing a risk assessment and a mitigation plan, then you're listing all of these possibilities, these high level possibilities down, and you're putting them in priority order. What is the most likely thing that can happen, or the most detrimental thing that can happen? And let's come up with a mitigation plan or something to do to address that first, and then we'll work our way down the list. In some situations, for example, in Cassie's situation, she had never planned for that. She didn't have anything in preparation for that. And so it has happened, right? You deal with it the best way you can in the moment. But then after it has happened, what do you do? What is your lesson learned? And that, again, is another project management term, is lesson learned. Is really looking at something after it has happened, dissecting it to say what worked well, what didn't work well, and let's come up with a plan for the next time. Let's take the pieces that worked and implement them where they needed to be implemented, and things that didn't work, what is it that we can do differently in the future? And then put that into place. And so for you guys, because we're talking about this now, you're in the preparation stage. You're able to think about these things ahead of time and really try to figure out what can you go ahead and put into place today to get you through whatever the crisis is that you're going to have to deal with. And so you may have an idea of it. Even just thinking about it sometimes will help you come up with a decent plan, even if you don't have documentation, or you haven't gone through training, or you haven't done the things to align with it. Just having the idea that there's a possibility this could happen, and what are kind of the high level things that I think we need to accomplish, or that I need to do to make sure that this goes smoothly if it does happen, right? Just having that thought will be helpful in getting you over that hump. So, I also want you to think about long-term illnesses or long periods of illness or things being out of pocket. So, for example, if a tornado had hit our house last night, like, I work from home for THB. So unless I'm able to save my computer and all of my equipment, then THB is going to be a little dark for a while, right? Unless I do it from my phone or something like that. But I'm going to be dealing with personal life. I'm going to be dealing with things that are going on from that point. If there's floods, same different. So what happens if there is a period or something happens in your life or in your business that requires it to go dark for a period of time? What is your plan of action to notify your clients, to notify your client base and your vendors and suppliers and all of that? What is your plan of action for notifying them that, hey, we've had a major situation go on in our business and we've got to go dark for a little while, or we're going to have a period of time where we are not reachable. So if you need to reach us, this is who you reach out to, or this is what we need you to do in the meantime. Like, what is your plan in that particular situation? Now, that one's a little more far-fetched, but it's something specifically if you're a small business owner that you need to think about, because you never know when you're going to be in an accident. You never know when, again, a tornado, a flood, or something else is going to detrimentally affect you or your business. And because you are your business, because you are the leader, many of you are your business. You're a solopreneur and it's just you and your business. So in many cases, you're it, right? And for some of you all, you actually have employees or you have other people who can assist in those times. And so you need to know, what is our plan? What is it that we're going to do in our business when these types of things happen? And how are we going to communicate those out to our user base or to our suppliers? So start thinking about things in terms of that. Going again, another scenario or another area that you need to think about, and this is going back to the personal side, is, do your family members, right? Do your family members know how to pitch in and help you? Most of you are going to have to think about that question. And in the end, you're going to come back and say, you know what? They don't. Because for most moms, you just do it, right? You don't think about how are you doing it or what are the steps I'm taking to make this thing happen. You just do what you do. But when somebody else has to step in and assist, how are they going to do that if they don't know how to do what it is that you do? Right. And it doesn't mean that they have to, you have 10 steps that you do something, you take 10 steps to do XYZ. It doesn't mean that somebody has to follow those exact 10 steps to do the same thing, unless that is your specific process, right? In some cases, just getting them to understand kind of what the end result or what the path is that you take. Now, they can do it however they need to do it, but at least they know how the route in which to go. A perfect example of this is in Cassie's scenario. When hubby started feeling better before she did, could he have pitched in and helped feed the kids? Of course he could have. Could he help get them off to school? Of course he can. But if she is the one who always takes the kids to school, which is like, that's my scenario, right? I always take our daughter to school because she's en route to my office. So my husband does not know all of the rituals that we follow in the morning to get her to school. He doesn't know that. Could he do it? Yes, he could. But is it going to be a little bumpier than if I showed him, like, here's kind of what we do in the morning to get ready for school. And this is what time we typically leave. And this is what we have to do to sign her in the morning and all of that. Like, if he understood that part of what I do, then if he has to do it, he has kind of that roadmap of how to get it done. It doesn't have to be done exactly how I do it, but he has the roadmap. He knows if I don't leave the house by between 6:45 and 7:00, we are late, period. Like, I know this because of traffic. I know this because of patterns, and I also know that, if there's a wreck on the interstate, I know the backup way. And then my daughter and I call it the back way, because we know if that one's kind of backed up, if the interstate if there's a really bad wreck, then the first backup way is going to be kind of backed up, right? People are going to be going that way. So we know we have an alternate way that we go to avoid that. Okay. So my husband doesn't know these things. So he would be sitting on the interstate mad and frustrated because she's going to be late. And he doesn't really know that roadmap that we use to navigate the mornings. So, what I'm trying to get to here is, although you may do whatever it is, although it's your responsibility to make these things happen, or you have owned this task, right? Although you own the task and you do it 95 to 99% of the time, it doesn't mean that you always have to. And it also doesn't mean that you should not train or teach family members and other individuals on how to do it if the need arises. Okay. So again, doesn't mean you have to give up on doing it, but it does mean that you should be teaching other people how to do it if it comes up that you need to. If you're sick, if you're out of town, if you're incapacitated, that they can come in and say, you know what, I can pitch in, I can help, I can take this on for you so that you don't have to worry about it. This is something that I really push hard in THB, and specifically with coaching clients, in thinking about what are areas of your life, what are areas of your business that you can offset, or that you can put offshore. We talk about offshoring our business and stuff like that, but what are some things that we can pass to somebody else and let them help with? We don't have to do it all. We have proven that, but do you have to? Do you have to fill up your day and fill up your time with all of these little things that somebody else can pitch in and help with? So that's something you need to think about. It's something that you need to come up with a plan on it. And it's something that if you start to work on that process, that you're going to find more time in your day. You're going to find more time. So this is not only preparing you for the inevitable, but it's also allowing you to see that, hey, I can tell somebody to do something. I can tell them this is how I do it. But until they have to go through the steps and do it for themselves, they're not going to remember how to do it. Right. So in that preparation time, what I find a lot of times when I'm working with clients and we go through this process, right, of developing, where are some areas that you can push off or get some assistance with. And in getting that assistance, you then have to walk them through the process of what you do. And then there has to be a process of them actually walking in those shoes and doing those things, taking on that responsibility for a short period of time, at least, so that you can ensure that they fully understand it, that they can actually say, I can handle that if I ever need to, right? You don't want to just write it down and say, okay, now you just step into it and work it out. You don't want to do that. You want to give them time to get to sit in it and feel comfortable. And so what happens a lot of times when we're going through those steps and we're going through those processes is the individual realizes, oh, I could do this. And so there's opportunities for them to pitch in more often. And so that's when you're getting back time in your day. That's when you're able to say, you know what, I am having a busy day or busy week. So can you pitch in and help me by doing XYZ for me? You know how. And so now I just need to pass it off and let you do it. Okay. Virtual assistants. I want to touch on this a minute because I know a lot of small business owners right now, that's a big topic, is that everybody's talking about, bringing on a virtual assistant for times when they need them. But my question is, are you ready? Are you ready to bring on a virtual assistant? And if you haven't come up with these backup plans, if you haven't even documented what it is that you do on a daily basis, how can you bring somebody else in? Because you've got to teach them how to do it. Right. And so if you don't really know the process that you go through, a lot of us don't. We do it on autopilot. And so as you're thinking through, what is it that I'm doing? You're able to identify where you have big gaps in your process, or where you are doing way too many steps to accomplish one thing. So that is another area that I encourage you to think through before you bring these people on, before you you pay somebody else to help you, is for you to identify what is it that you actually want done? What is it that you actually are doing? And so that is something that I actually help people develop, and I help them go through their process, streamline them. And then it's like you're now in a position to bring on a VA. there was something else that I wanted to share with you guys specifically about bringing people on and aligning yourself through your business. And I can't think of it now. I make my little notes, and of course, I didn't write that down. Um, so anyway, I may think about it in a minute. So the next thing I want to talk about, let me look at my time. The next thing I want to talk about is your circle of support. This is huge. This is a huge area, and one of the areas that Cassie struggled with during her nightmare, right? During her nightmare moment. Your circle of support is extremely important. It is extremely, extremely, extremely important. And many of us don't have a true circle of support. We have our friends, we have our business acquaintances, but your circle of support is usually a small group of people from different areas of your life that can pitch in, or are willing to and are able to pitch in at the drop of a hat. If you call on them, they are there. A lot of people consider their circle of support their family members. And although, like my circle, I have two different circles, right? I have my family circle of support, and I have just my circle of support. And what I'm referring to right now is just your general circle of support. But for some of you, they're all one and the same. Okay. I would suggest that your circle of support is not made up of all family members. Okay. I encourage you to cultivate relationships that are true relationships, and are people that you trust around your family, that you trust around your business, that understand you and your values for not only your family, but for your business, that can understand kind of the routes that you go, the things that you do in your life and your business. And it doesn't have to be super granular, but it's people that understand you. And as for entrepreneurs, specifically solopreneurs, you are your business, and your business is you, right? So you're pretty much one and the same. And so when you think about that, if someone is close to you and is close to who you are, your values, and all of that, then they are a circle of support for not only you as a person, but you as your business as well. And so my circle of support not only knows the day in and day out things that I do, the things that I like, and the typical things you're like, oh, my friends know this, right? They know processes. They know kind of the way that I flow. They know the things that I'm doing. So I not only share that information with my family, with my spouse, with my parents, of this is where these documents are. This is where if something happens to me, this is what I want done. I share those with my circle of support too, because my husband and I travel a lot together places. And so, think about it. If we were in an accident, and let's say my daughter was not with me, she was at school, my husband and I were driving around doing something together, and we had an accident and something happened. We were both in the hospital or something. Who's going to take care of my daughter? Who's going to know to go and contact the school and get my daughter? Who's going to be there with us in the hospital, and who's going to be, so you've got to have more than just one person, because they can't be in two places at once. You need to have a circle of support of people with specific assignments, or a list of assignments that, hey, if this happens, this is what we need done. And you guys, I'm just looking to you to just make it happen, right? Step in and be a support to us, because these are the things that we're going to need. And so you need to be able to advise them of what happens in these particular scenarios. What happens if I call you and I need you to go pick up my daughter from school? Do you know how to do that? Are you on the list at the school? What happens after you pick them up? Is my daughter comfortable with you, or is that going to freak her out? Is she going to get scared? Or are you going to be able to calm her down? Like, these are things that you need to kind of think about. You need to walk through, you need to plan for. So if they are to happen, you have that circle, and that circle is ready. And it's kind of like that beacon in the sky when you just put that beacon up and they all come swarming in. It's the same thing. You need to have that circle of support. And so if you are new to an area and you don't have that local circle, then it's time for you to start cultivating relationships. It's time for you to really dig in and just say, who are some people who I feel are in alignment with me? Who are some people that I feel are dependable that I can call on in my time of need to help me out with something? And I'm not just talking about financial. I'm not just talking about, when you need that you're just going to take. This circle is a circle of people that you not only take from, but you give to as well. It is truly a circle of support that there's give and take throughout. So all of this is, I know I've thrown a lot at you today. There were so many different bits and pieces and I'm like, oh, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this, So I know it's a lot of information and I know it can be very overwhelming, especially if you haven't done any of it. If you feel like I'm not ready for anything, I'm not prepared for anything, it's okay. Don't want to leave this without saying it's okay if you don't feel prepared. It's okay if you've got a lot of work to do. Okay. Because I'm not going to leave you out there without anything. I'm not just going to leave you out there hanging. So the first thing that I want you to do, I want you to go to thehappinessbucket.com/preparation. I want you to go there and it's a landing page and you put in your email address, your name and your email address. And that will sign you up for all of the tips, all of the tricks that I will be giving out about preparation and getting in alignment with these things and getting prepared in your business and in your personal life. Okay. So sign up for that to let me know that, yes, I need to get prepared. I'm ready. I want to make this thing happen. And so that will let me know. And then as I have more topics now, Lunch and Learn Lives, of course, you know how to know about those things, but this is for other trainings. This is for the program I'm working on getting up and running. You will know when that is live. You'll know when I have kind of the soft launch of that to get your feedback and you can hit the ground running in that information. And then just emailing, because I email tips and tricks out all the time. And so I'll know that you're interested in the preparation tips. So if I have a checklist or something like that I can give to you to start this process of preparing your business and your personal life, that you will receive that. So just jump over to thehappinessbucket.com/preparation and you will be able to get that information. Now, I know that I have laid a lot of things on your mind, and I know that you may have some questions and things. You are free to put those questions in the chat of this live, and I will be monitoring that. But I also encourage you to jump over to the Change Academy Facebook group, where all of our THBers join in and we talk about the topics and we talk about the information that is shared and we ask questions and collaborate there. So I encourage you to jump over there and be a part of the THB family and ask whatever questions you have or share whatever comments. Maybe you've come up with a scenario or a process of planning that you want to share. So definitely jump in there and share that with the group. We would love to have you. So hopefully you found this information helpful and not too overwhelming, but that you can begin your plan of action for your preparation journey. It is 12:33, so I'm 3 minutes over what I normally try to do, but that's all right. Hopefully you found the information helpful. Now, stay tuned. We have April will be joining us for I can't even talk. A Lunch and Learn Live soon. We are in the preparation stages for that, where she will come on and we will have a very dynamic conversation. So I'm looking forward to that. If you want to know about more Lunch and Learn Lives, jump over to the Happiness Bucket /Lunch and Learn Live, and you will be able to sign up for notifications of our future topics. So until then, I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye.